Hello, people. Guess who's back? I decided to do a little review, and I'm being interfered with right now by a little kitty. Yep, that'd be her. And I thought I would talk about some of my shows that just came on, which I thought were actually pretty good for the beginning of the year and everything. Like, obviously, Once Upon a Time and Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, American Horror Story, Coven, and of course The Walking Dead. I will avoid talking about NCIS because the only thing I can say about NCIS right now is I have to bring Zeba back. It's not going to work for me, alright? So, anyway, what I want to say was I really like the whole Neverland thing from Once Upon a Time. It's really cool. And Pan, he's a jerk. I mean, all the things I learned in movies just completely just flipped on me in this show. It's unreal. And he's going to have Henry convinced by the time they find them that he belongs in Neverland, which, you know, is... But anyway, Tinkerbell! What happened to you, Tank? What happened? I know what happened. Regina happened. Big surprise. Regina screwed someone over. This time it was Tinkerbell. But anyway, nice little revelation at the end that Robin Hood is supposed to be the man that would have made her happy. Kind of makes an interesting little storyline to come up later. And speaking of Robin Hood, I really like Robin Hood. I love him. I like this guy. As much as I liked seeing Shane again playing Robin Hood, this guy's pretty cool too. He kind of looks more like I would think of Robin Hood. And I love the scenes with Robin Hood, Milan, and Neil. I love Milan. Milan is like, she's just turning into this awesome character, and I want to see more and more of this girl because she is just badass and cool. And it's really kind of sad because she's in love with Philip, but Philip's with Aurora, and we all know that Seeking Beauty, those two are, yeah, they're having a little baby, and they're cute, aww. And so, but getting on to Neil, I like Neil. I'm really starting to like him. I think he cares about people. I think he cares about his family. I think he really loves them and he wants them back. And I think that's awesome. And it makes me sort of even more antagonistic towards Captain Ain't I Wonderful Hook, who really doesn't do a lot for me, unfortunately. Maybe because he's becoming too much of a Sawyer type to me. No offense to you Sawyer lovers, okay? Alright? I'm a lost person. I admit that I loved him at one point, but I kind of got tired of him. But he's hitting on Neil's girl. So, sorry, the cat's tail. The cat is on the computer desk, and she's bothering me a little. Not as much as she could go. And, okay, well, that is wrapping up my thoughts, other than the fact that no, Prince Charming cannot die. But other than that, that's wrapping up my Once Upon a Time. On to Wonderland. Wonderland is cool, okay? And I love the idea of going to Wonderland. I love the Alice that's on here, and the Neva parts is really cool. And the storyline is really good. It needs the Mad Hatter. You guys need to get Sebastian Stan back. Okay? You need to get him. Okay? It's just not Wonderland without the Mad Hatter. Kind of like NCIS. But on Zeba! But anyway, I won't go back there. I liked it. Wonderland, it's really cool concept. And I'm so glad to see my man Naveen back on TV. Naveen Andrews, in case you didn't know, was on a show called Lost that most of the people that I know used to watch and loved, and some of us liked the ending, some of us didn't. That's fine and whatever, but I love that Naveen's on here. I really like the way he's portraying his character, because you don't want him to be another Rumpelstiltskin, because nobody can do what Robert Carlyle is on Once Upon a Time, which is just hilarious and devious at the same time. And you gotta be careful about that. And Naveen, that's not the way Naveen is. Naveen's more, he can look very evil, and it's really, really cool. So, gotta see Naveen. Oh, one more thing about Once Upon a Time. Loved the Ruby Slipper reference, my name. Loved it. Please let us go to Oz sometime. Please. Okay, thank you. All right, enough on Once Upon a Time. Thank you. American Horror Story Coven is an amazing show. If anybody hasn't watched American Horror Story and they like twisted, bent shows, this is the show you need to watch. This one right here. It's the first year was about a haunted house. It starred a very hot Dylan McDermott and the loopy Jessica Lange, who's just perfect at this, being crazy and nuts. And people like Evan Peters, who's really cute, and the lovable Teresa Farmiga, who is just, I'm so glad she's back on Coven. The second year was the Asylum, focusing on Sarah Paulson's character, who was locked in falsely in an asylum. And it was twisted and it was evil. There was an evil Santa Claus on the It's a show that you really should watch if you like weird, messed up, demented shows. Coven is looking like that. Teresa Farmiga is back. I love her. And of course Jessica Lange along with Kathy Bates and Angela Bassett. We're talking like Academy Award winning actresses here. This is just powerhouse stuff, and it's awesome so far, so I highly recommend it for all of you. Now that brings me to The Walking Dead. This is currently one of my favorite shows on television right now, and I'm not going to give away any spoilers to people who haven't seen it. Staff, and tell people that, just tell people what I thought of it, because it was pretty awesome. My man Daryl, of course, looking particularly good. Hair's getting long, I mean, need a little haircut. Maybe Carol can do that for him. One can only hope. And Ella, Kate, and Sawyer kind of thing, And his cat again, sorry. And it looks like they've set up a little society at the prison, which is really kind of cool, actually. I kind of like this idea of like a council and, trying to find some order in the chaos. And it was probably Rick's idea. Rick has some good ideas. I mean, too bad some of them fail because of human foibles and things, but I like Rick. I'm not one of the people that hates on Rick, because there's a lot of people that hate on Rick. I love Rick. I think Rick's trying his best to stay human in the midst of all this horror that's going on around him. And it makes for a good drama. To have a character like that at the head of things. He's not Jack from Lost, okay? He's not that bad. Yeah, he can be a bit emotional on occasion, but in the sense of the circumstances in the situation, you perfectly understand if you watch this show the reason why Rick is the way he is. And in this episode, he runs into this, what I call the living zombie girl, because God knows she looks like a zombie, except she's alive and not dead. For those of you who don't watch that, probably don't get this, but yeah. And it turns out there's reasons for the way she looks, and a really dramatic fallout. I'm not going to spoil that for you. Maggie and Glenn. Maggie thinks she might be pregnant, but I think that turns out she's not, or whatever, but and sorry if that was a spoiler, but and Carl seems to have settled down a little bit, which is good. His dad seems to have gotten the doodle one to be a little less of a little dickhead, which is what he's been, turning into a mini Shane. And Sean apparently is still out there searching for our buddy, the gardener, who killed Andrea last year. And towards the end, I liked Andrea, so I'm kind of sad about that, and I'm kind of mad. I think he's a sadistic fuck who killed Andrea. And Daryl's brother Merlin forced Daryl to kill his own brother, which really sucks for Daryl. Alright. Carol called Daryl Pookie. in this episode. Can I have a little fangirl moment to squeak? Okay. And it was very cute. It was very funny. And considering if you know Daryl, it's hilarious. And I'm going to have a little word on him for a minute because he is one of my favorites on this show. He is played very well by the actor that plays him, Norman Reedus, who's excellent, by the way. I don't know where this guy's been. I know he was in Boondock Saints and all that stuff, but he's good. He's got a real good read in his character, and if you know anything about Daryl, you know that he had a very rough upbringing. And it really shows in his interactions with people, especially when he had to go tell Beth some bad news today. And she went to go over and gave him a hug, and he reacted like somebody would who is not used to being touched, used to being hurt regularly. So it's exactly the kind of subtle way that he does things. Like he couldn't even put his arms around it. He was just that stiff about it. He's got that adult version of a abused child kind of way about him, which I think is really cool. It's one of the things about this show that makes it so likable, because it's not just about the walkers eating people. It's not just about the horror. It's about people trying to live through incredible circumstances in which, nobody should have to live through. And all these people have flaws and foibles and things that make them human beings. And aside from the walkers, it's a very realistic looking show. So, if you're not squeamish and you like shows that are like this, if you like character dramas that's set in weird circumstances like I do, then I highly recommend The Walking Dead, because it's more than just a zombie show. It's a character drama, and I think that people need to look at that before they judge it as being what it is. Because there's some fabulous acting going on in this show too. Norman Reedus, I mentioned, Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, Andrew Lincoln plays Rick, and just everybody. There's a lot of good stuff on this show, and it's on AMC, so it's a pretty quality network. So just, if you haven't tried it, watch the first season and see how you like it. And, it's really just enjoy it, because I really like it too. I have several other shows that have not come on yet, like Grimm, and the following not until Hannibal, and not until the next season, until next year kind of thing. So I'll save any things for that. Criminal Minds. It's got, serial killers. So, but like I said, I won't touch NCIS right now because you can't do it without Ziva. But anyway, and I want you. Okay, so that'll wrap up my reviews for the day, and I want you all to say hi to my little kitty. Say hi, baby. Yeah. Who's been bugging me on the desk the whole time I've been doing this. It's amazing that I can concentrate. Anyway, I told you I'd be playing music this time. Nothing to really get up and dance to or anything, but one more thing before I sign off. Go Sox. Oh, good song. And I will see you all. I'll probably do this on Wednesdays. It's a good day to do this because it's, I have a day off and I have time to fuck around and everything, so it's good. And by the way, I'm going to Salem this weekend. See the witches. Yes. And toodles, people. And I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.